Welcome to the series on leadership development. Now, you'll agree with me that the greatest need of Africa today and many developing nations has to do with leadership. Maxwell said it rightly. He said everything rises and falls on the wings of leadership. But before I go ahead to today's topic, because we need to first of all clarify the concept of leadership and the concept of talent leadership. Because I've discovered in my short work in life that you see, when you can define it correctly, you can implement it correctly. That's the beginning of error in the first place. So we want to correct that. What exactly is leadership? And how does it relate with talent leadership? There have been so many definitions of leadership. We'll be exploring all that in this series. But before I go ahead, I want you to please take note of this. Two vital requirements, I call it two vital C's of life. To succeed in any endeavor, there are two principal C's you need to pay attention to. One is character development, and the second one has to do with competence, which they call skill. If you lack any of these two, there's no way you can imagine leader in your field. So let's take note that we'll be exploring this even as we continue. But by way of introduction, it's very important I mention this. That's why you need continuous development. The Japanese call it kizin. Now, after you have established this, the next most important thing is to remember this also, that it's not what you know that matters, but what you do with what you know. And this is the essence of application. Even the wisdom of God says that only the doers, which is another word for application, will be blessed. I see God blessing you. So you need to know how to apply the knowledge, because God will be giving us in this course of this series, a little, revelations that if we apply them, will actually elevate us and empower us to emerge as leaders in our field. That is that. Of course, so the essence of this series is to give you the right information. Because, you see, with information explosion all over the world now, there's so many kind of errors and fallacies all over the place. So you need the right, correct information, which when you apply, will begin to establish you upon your high places. And that is why this particular series or this program has been put together. I can assure you that by the grace of God, you'll be getting the right information on this platform. So now let's quickly dive into this concept of leadership and talent leadership. And I'm going to make it very short because I want the series to be short, each segment as it were. So what exactly is leadership? And I want to take what my root from the word from the wisdom of God, which says, He said, "You shall be the head and not the tail." He said, "You shall be above only and not beneath." That is what the wisdom of God says. And that is the truth. So you need to believe this. Because if you don't believe it, you can't become it. And that is very important. To me, this is the genesis of leadership. God has designed that every child of God should be a leader. You shall be the head and not the tail. And you shall be above only and not beneath. That will be your story from henceforth. But it takes effort, because everything you see in the scripture, it will just happen automatically. You have to activate it by faith and work it out, because there's always the working element in every action of faith, every step of faith. So you need to work it out. And that is very important. So work out your salvation with trembling. That's what the wisdom of God says. The next to that, having established the concept of leadership, what about talent leadership? Because we'll be focusing on these two concepts as we proceed, because I really want us to understand the power of talent leadership concept. There are so many kind of leadership they've been proclaiming out there: transformational leadership, transactional leadership, and so on and so forth. But I want to begin to proceed and emphasize the need for us to pay attention to talent leadership concept. And that has to do with the parable of talents. And maybe you have heard about it before. The wisdom of God said that a man, a particular rich man was going on a long journey, and then he gave to his servants his goods, and he gave one of the servants 5 talents. He gave another one 2 talents. He gave another one 1 talent, according to their several ability. You see, God knows your capacity. And He knows what you are called. He has designed you for a purpose. And He has wired into you those gifts and talent. So my thesis is this, that as you locate that gift and talent, and that is where the 3 vital Ds apply now. And there's a book we have produced on this. If you're interested, you get across to me later on. 3 vital Ds, talent, 3 vital Ds. And so you need to discover correctly, you need to develop and then deploy those gifts and talent. And that is where you are going to naturally emerge as a leader and you are going to make a mark. It will be effortless. Just remember Joseph in the Old Testament. Remember Moses with Bezalel. Even though Moses was gifted in hearing the voice of God, but he has his own limitation. So God has to send to him some talented people to implement the vision he has given him. That is the power of talent for you. And that is what we're going to be exploring in this series. You are the next leader about to emerge. See you again next week. And God bless you.